Blades, welcome to another match preview. We are welcoming you as we look ahead to Sheffield United versus Bournemouth, 3 p.m, I know, on a Saturday at beautiful downtown Bramall Lane. Let's look back at the previous game to kick things off. Brighton away, snatching a result from the Seagulls. Snatching something from a seagull makes a change to my eating chips experience by the seaside. But I actually looked up the humble seagull on Wikipedia, and the entry reads, seagulls distantly related to auks, A-U-K-S. And I suppose 𝗚𝗂𝐾𝗂, A-W-K-S, is exactly how Mahmoud Dahoud felt when he was sent off on 69. Nice. Sheffield United's top scorer this season is own goal. If the next goal for the Blades is also an OG, and I am saying this now, I will get own goal on the back of my shirt for this season. You heard it here first. It is AFC Bournemouth up next at the Lane. The AFC stands for absolutely crunch this fixture. A win, and we go to 8 points from 13 games. 1 point, therefore, behind Bournemouth. But if the Cherries win, they go to 12 points. 7 points ahead of us. This really is a six-pointer. And the season, even this early, could it be defined by the outcome of this game? Or could it not? What do I know? I'm just some idiot on the internet. Bournemouth, of course, are known as the Cherries. Cherries contain a stone, something hard, unpalatable, and difficult to swallow. A bit like that 10-point deduction which we saw as punishment for Everton after being found to have breached the Premier League financial rules. Those rules presumably being that they aren't Manchester City or Chelsea. It means the Toffees sit on 4 points, 1 place below United. We'll see what happens with appeals. The only time in a sentence you'll hear Merseyside and appealing. And we'll see what else happens, Parliament, etc., and whether it remains at that 10-point penalty deduction. I have my doubts. Who knows? Maybe it'll become 6 points, Everton get a few wins. It could be that this is really the season for them to get that points deduction because they probably can overcome it and still survive. When it comes to the Blades, and we talk about a bit of team news, you know about the players that are out long term. I don't need to go back over them. Interesting that George Baldock was withdrawn from Greece's squad for their match against France. Greece could not qualify for Euro 2024, so manager 𝗍𝗿𝗂𝗏 took the decision to protect George Baldock after, of course, his recent injury issues, which hopefully means wrapping him in cotton wool, ready for Bournemouth. Only a good thing. And if we look at good things, United seem to have increased the level of aggression. Defenders are getting tighter, and as a team, Sheffield United appear to be pressing more. This was really noticeable in the last couple of matches. No surprise that we got better results. Sitting off and waiting for the opposition to make errors hasn't worked. We can't rely on the opposition giving us the ball. And despite this part of it working, we can't actually rely on own goals. I will quote Carlton Blade on the S24SU forum, who said, next step, figure out a way to attack when we don't win the ball high up the pitch. Absolutely. Winning it deep and then still being able to launch an attack, for me, absolutely paramount. It's going to be something that 𝗍𝗂𝐾𝗂 will, I'm sure, have been looking at on the training ground. My lineup and formation has been predicted. Going to talk about it right now. I use the FanHub app for this. If you'd also like to predict your lineup, just like I have, you can join the FanHub community. Check it on match days, but use this link in the description. And also, I'm going to say now, to make sure you can get straight in, no waiting time. Use the code 𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗏. I think we'll have Foderingham in goal. I think Baldock will start. Anel will be back. Trusty, Robinson and Thomas. That's what I reckon. Now, this isn't necessarily the team I would pick from here on in, but this is what I think 𝗍𝗂𝐾𝗂 will go with. Norwood and Osborne, McAtee, Hamer, Archer. Okay? Now, hear me out. McBurney off the bench as he's been out injured. So maybe just not risked from the start. We'll see. I'd love to see McBurney start, but I've gone with what I think 𝗍𝗂 will do. Slimani to maybe get some game time. Bogle, if we go with that lineup, I would say unlucky to miss out, but he hasn't been quite up to his previous standards. Possibly Max Lowe comes in for Thomas, but we'll see, and I don't think that's likely. Sousa could definitely start, but his injury against Brighton, coupled with Ben Osborne's performance in that game, mean I'm leaning towards 𝗍𝗂 making this change. I also don't think that Norwood and Sousa necessarily works together. I believe Vinny Sousa was probably brought in as a Norwood replacement, but I don't think you can leave Norwood out at the moment. Sousa has been doing a lot of tackling. How much else of his game would be necessary for Bournemouth? We'll wait and see with what Paul Heckingbottom goes with. But that's what I've said. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments. Now, for the 23-24 season, Sheff United Way is sponsored by Greene King Sport, where football is more than a game. Greene King Sports venues are showing every televised Blades fixture over the course of the season. So instead of getting a dodgy internet stream, get your mates together, get down to your local Greene King pub for games that are on telly, get closer to the action. This season, Greene King has launched the Greene King Sport Instagram page, which will be your home for fan content. There's loads of deals and there's competitions right throughout the season. They've already given away Champions League final tickets and signed shirts. There's more to come. So drop them a follow on Instagram and you'll be the first to know about what's coming next. You'll also be helping out the Sheff United Way. I know that Bournemouth have Bristol City man, former Bristol City man, who always caused us problems when we played against Bristol City, Alex Scott, injured. Tyler Adams out. Emiliano Marcondes and Ryan Fredericks could be in contention, but it may come too soon. Max Aarons and Philip Billing are hoping to be fit. Bournemouth beat Newcastle in their last match 2-0 at home. It was a 4-2-3-1, the formation with Neto in goal. Aarons, who then got injured and was replaced by Adam Smith. Kelly, the fullbacks, with Zabarnyi and Senisi at central defence. A midfield of Christie and Cook, Semenyo, Kluivert, Tavernier, and up top, Solanke. Remains to be seen what they go with for this game, but it could be very similar as they got success using that tactic and formation at home against the Magpies. Let's get the opposition view created by Roy's View From. Go to roysviewfrom.com. Watched a bit of the Brighton-Sheffield match, and I hope it serves as a warning reminder to our boys. As bad as they've been, they may have turned a corner of their own. They're still a Premier League side, and a moment or two of inattention there could cost us points that we desperately need. So that's one Bournemouth fan's opinion. Here's another one. We have better players than Sheffield United. If we play to our maximum levels, then we can win the game. They didn't have a shot on target until Brighton went down to 10 men. If we don't play to our best levels, they could easily scrape a win against us, though. 20 points would be survival this season based on the fact Sheffield United, Luton and Burnley are all only picking up 0.5 or less points per game. Sheffield United is massive, in my honest opinion, as our second game against a promoted club, winning it puts us back on par course for survival and negates all the doom and gloom we've had so far. A defeat would be a significant setback and pile on the pressure. That Bournemouth fan agreeing with what I stated at the start of this preview. I think many fans would go along with that as well. The referee for Sheffield United versus Bournemouth is Andy Madley from Huddersfield. Last season, he took charge of just 34 games, issuing 120 yellows. That's on the low side. 5 reds, 3 were second yellows, and he only gave 6 penalties, which is on the low side. He last refereed Sheffield United's 2-2 this season at home against Everton. He wasn't dreadful in that game, not that I recall. If he was, tell me. Prior to that, he was the man in the middle for our 1-0 win at home against Newcastle, 12th of January 2021, in which he gave the Blades a penalty and he sent off Newcastle's Ryan Fraser. So did us a favour in that game, although it was a red. It was second yellow, I think, and definitely a penalty. Now, there's no easy way to segue into what I'm going to say next, so I'm just going to share exactly what Dylan has written on social media. One of my best mates, Josh, sadly died in a car crash at just 17. He was a massive United fan, and it would be muchly appreciated to have a minute's applause from the 17th minute in United's next home game against Bournemouth. That's been shared far and wide, so a 17th minute applause. And also, with the blessing of the family, we've been asked if we can talk about the fact that we'd invite Sheffield United fans to join another minute of applause on the 37th minute against Bournemouth as we come together to remember Matt Hardy. Matt was 37 when he passed. He fought cancer incredibly bravely for 2 years. He loved his family. He loved the Blades. I knew Matt for a number of years, and he really was incredibly brave. And with me and in my experiences with Matt, a really fun guy, and I wish I was watching the Bournemouth game with him. Player connections is where we're going to talk now. Again, like getting into that, no easy way to get out of it. So I'll just say that some players that I can think of that have played for Sheffield United and Bournemouth, please tell me yours. Simon Francis didn't really get a great shake of things under Neil Warnock at Sheffield United. David Brooks, very fondly remembered by Blades fans for what he did at United. 𝗲𝗏𝗄𝗂, more controversial figure, and Aaron Ramsdale, more controversial figure. Who can you think of? Also, big shout out to all our members. If you'd like to support us, click join as you watch on YouTube. Let's look at some stats. Thanks very much to Statsman Adam, bringing us back the stat cat. Meow. Sheffield United's 1-1 draw at Brighton was United's first draw away from home in the Premier League since Sheffield United's 1-1 draw at Brighton in 2020. A repeat there. I don't really want to repeat of the last time we played Bournemouth at home. That was a 0-0. I think we need to win this one. That was the 9th of April 2022. That was in the Championship. Although the last time we faced them at home in the Prem was a 2-1 win. John Lundstrom, the 84th minute hero. Sheffield United's last 8 Premier League wins have been by a 1-goal margin. You've got to go all the way back to when we beat Chelsea by 3-0 in July 2020. My prediction is a much narrower victory because of what I've just said. They've been by a 1-goal margin. I think we win again. I think it's 1-0. It's going to be a really nervy match. Let me know your score prediction in the comments. Also, subscribe to this channel and to our audio podcast. As ever, thank you very much for watching. I have had an eyelash here. Oh my God. Itching me. Didn't even get it then. Didn't even get it. Itching me the whole way through. It's still there. I'm going to have to take these off. It's actually quite a big one. Why have I not got it? Let me make a wish. I think you know what I wished for.